I'm starting off with a preface that I first thought of writing an essay, but then I decided against it and thought that making a video would be a better idea. So, the timer starts now. Last time, we left off with the planet ecologists' kinds dying in the desert, while Jessica and Paul are faced with dangerous men trying to take their water in a cave somewhere in the desert. So the next chapter opens up with Jessica and Paul being asked in a threatening manner to give all of their water to the freemen. However, due to their training, both in psychological and physical warfare, they're able to take on the freemen, with Paul running into the caves, while Jessica took hostage the leader of the freemen, Stilgar. Now, because of this, Stilgar ordered his troops to retreat, and because of Jessica and Paul showing their might to the freemen, as the so-called weeding way, because of this, the freemen had accepted them, or at least Stilgar accepted them as people. Additionally, Jessica used psychological persuasion, or rather the religious culture of the freemen that was planted by Missionaria Protectiva, the group related to Bene Gesserit, which Jessica is a part of, so that they could implant ideas of religious protection upon the next Bene Gesserit who comes to influence the local tribes. Because of it, quite a lot of people take this as a religious sign, and decide to have Paul and Jessica continue with them on their way. Except one person who thought of it as plain nonsense, and that people were just using the religious intent to be false prophets so that they are not killed. His name is Jamis, and he later in the next chapter decides to take on Paul in a duel, which goes badly for him because Paul is quite skilled in sword fighting, and so he defeats Jamis with quite a lot of regret, actually, because he didn't think that he'd have to kill a man in order to prove his worth. This is later shown where during the division of items that belong to Jamis between the people of the tribe as a part of their cultural tradition, Paul sheds tears as a sign of regret. By the freemen, however, this action is viewed as a high respect to the dead Jamis, and so people once again think that Paul is, after all, the future of the freemen. During the combat, or rather after the combat trial, he gets his name of Muad'Dib. However, because this is a part of his clairvoyant powers, he decides to change his fate by calling himself Paul Muad'Dib, which the the circumstances accept. He's also given a second name, a tribe call-out name of Usul. Later, the freemen lead Paul and Jessica into a cave where show their water stash, which contains a lot of water. It's sort of like an artificial lake, According to Stilgar, the leader, they have about 1,000 caches all around Arrakis, so that they could bring out the water at one point and terraform the entire planet for their liking. This is where the shadow of Kynes persists, where he made them believe that someday Arrakis may be changed for the better. At the same time, Paul continues to experience the pre-science moments in which he sees that his troops will march in a genocidal crusade against everyone who disagrees with the newly founded Atreides family. He decides that this is against his own will, and this will do so much bloodshed that he is even unsure if he should continue being an Atreides prince. He, in the end, decides that his mother, Jessica, is one of the reasons why the Jihad warriors will exist in the first place. So he thinks of her as a newly found enemy. In the last chapter, we are brought back to the Baron Harkonnen, who got rid of the Atreides family on the Arrakis. This is the day of the upbringing of his nephew, Feud Ruthar, who in many forms is very similar to Paul. Baron also invites, or rather they came by themselves, the Fenrir family, or the Count and the Duchess, who are here to represent the Emperor and to ask Baron a few questions about the Arrakis plan. We learn the details that the Emperor actually wanted to get rid of Duke Leto, and he did it with the hand of the Baron Harkonnen. However, the Baron himself had his own interest in the venture, and he has some details that escaped the Saradukar, the elite forces of the Emperor, and the Emperor himself, such as the fact that there's a lot of inhabitable desert in which Jessica and Paul are now hiding. Thufir Hawat, the previous mentat of Duke Leto, and his great friend, was imprisoned and now serves under Harkonnen rule. And furthermore, the fact that Baron was actually declined in putting his own descendant into the Arrakis, and so he should first consult with the Emperor, which drives the Baron, obviously, to massively disagree with Count Fenrir. However, due to the political chessplay, Baron cannot outright say that everything is a slander, and he dislikes the proposition. Then we are shown the battle of Feyd-Rautha with the gladiator. Feyd-Rautha, being quite a promising boy, has his own plans on the not even on the battlefield, but rather in the political game, and so he makes Thufir Hawat help him to get rid of the slave master who brings out gladiators for the fight. He proposes that Thufir makes one of the gladiators undrugged, so just conditioned to obey by single command during the battle, so that Feyd-Rautha could make people that came to the arena believe that he single-handedly defeated an undrugged slave champion. This almost goes bad for him, as the slave that fought him was one of the warriors of the Atreides, and here we are shown Feyd-Rautha's slithery side, I guess, because despite the tradition of holding one poisoned and one clean blade, Feyd-Rautha uses two poisoned blades, which goes against culture. Where here once again shown the cowardice of the Harkonnen family, which seeps even into the brightest minds of their legacy.